So I'm out here on a Sunday removing some snow and ice from a customer's roof. This is one of the valleys. You can see lots of icicles, a huge ice dam underneath that snow, and plenty of snow to melt behind that to create some leaking inside the house. So here's the valley on the northeast side of the house. Large ice dam. I've removed quite a bit of it, and it follows all the way across the whole side of the house. We have to remove all that ice, and I got all the snow off of the roof from the peak down to the gutter line so that there's not any water backing up behind that ice dam. On a sunny day like this, lots of melting. If I get close here, you might see there's a lot of water backed up behind this ice dam. She's getting leaking inside the house. You can see it's starting to drip off of the house right now, and once I'm done, the water will stop coming into the house. Here are my tools: a hammer and an ice pick. As you can see over here, we remove the ice down to about 2 to 3 inches from the gutter line and the roof line. A very safe process, a very quick process, and it's been done for years. A lot of times you hear people that steam say how unsafe it is to use a hammer and an ice pick on your roof. It is unsafe if you try to damage your roof and puncture a hole through a shingle, but very safe if you do it correctly. Okay, so here I am, same home. Here's a valley that I cleared all the snow off of the roof. It's a sunny day. It's cold out, but it's a sunny day. Probably about 10 degrees right now. The snow's off the roof. I took all the ice out of the valley, chipped it down to about 2 inches, all the way across the side of the house here. Very safe process, leaving 2 to 3 inches of ice on the roof. All the water that melts behind this will run right off the roof, and there will be no leaking or backing up inside the house. Sometimes people ask me about steaming. We use hammer and ice pick. I believe that steaming is a process that can cause just as much damage as anything out there, and chipping and hammers don't cause any. So we're up in that same valley, getting some snow out of the valley. There's a ton of snow and ice up here, and we gotta use the shovel because it's so icy. Pullers are working good, the shovel is working better. Once we're done, we'll have this whole valley clear. So here's the other side of that house. The ice has worked its way all the way up the valley. We are removing this ice, chipping it down to a couple inches from the roof line so that the water can roll off the house and there's no more leaking. Out here chipping some ice dams off of this house. We cleared off the roof, all the snow is off. Now we're down to the ice dams. So what we do is we pick the ice with ice picks, and we get it down to about 2 inches from the roof line. And so you can see here that I've done some, and I'm just going to show you how we do it. And this will stop all the leaking from the water that's behind it. So what we're trying to do is get it down to about 2 inches so that all the water that melts can come down off of the house and onto the ground rather than up, building up behind it and leaking into the house, because it's the water that builds up that causes the leaking. that's it. We just keep doing this whole ridge here. This will take me about an hour to clear, and then we clean up the ground when we're done.